Paul Skenes just struck out the Dodgers, the Cy Young race, and possibly gravity for all I know. Meanwhile, Don Kelly's Pirates are above 500 and Quinn Priester is back in town, just not in black and gold. Welcome to one of the weirdest Septembers so far in Pirates baseball history. That's next on Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Pirates, your daily dive into the world of Pittsburgh baseball. I'm Gary Morgan, your host. Today, we're celebrating a sweep of the Dodgers, spotlighting the Pirates' emerging core, previewing a big series against the Brewers, and honoring a lineup that changed baseball forever. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. So we swept the Dodgers. That happened. What did you think of that, everybody? Insane series, right? Insane. Paul Skenes earned the win yesterday, capping off the sweep of the Dodgers, and his updated season line is just crazy. 10-9 record, so he's finally gotten that switched around. And I got to say, the offense has actually stepped up and kind of helped do that. He was pretty far back there. A 198 ERA, 195 strikeouts, a .94 whip, over 173 innings in 29 starts. He is the betting favorite for the NL Cy Young Award. I believe he's at minus 250 right now. Zach Wheeler's still up there, even though he's done for the season. Christopher Sanchez is probably his stiffest competition, and he's still going really well. But there's nothing going to dethrone Paul Skenes if he's pitching like this. I can't touch on everything that happened in this series. We've talked about it daily as we've progressed through it, so I don't feel the need to rehash everything. But Don Kelly's Pirates are 52-51. They're playing with energy, discipline. They've got a much more clear identity. Look at the approach at the plate. Look at how they're consistently looking to go the other way in run scoring situations. They're looking to just get contact and get that ball up in the air. They're scoring on those ground balls instead of striking out when there's runners at second and third or the base is loaded. They're doing a lot of those good things, and it's leading to a lot of opportunities for them. They've done great. Especially in this last month, maybe month and a half, you could argue. They've really turned things around. We talked yesterday about how the offense has taken a little step forward. Well, the pitching was dealt a big blow right around the trade deadline, and it looked like everything was going to completely fall apart there for about a week. So it took, and this is, I think, one of the most impressive things that Don Kelly has done since he's taken over. Because it would have been really easy for everyone in that room. You think about what's in that room after this trade deadline. There's a collection of some veterans that have no idea how the hell they ended up staying. So they're looking around a room they totally didn't expect to be in. And they're expected to still just pretend that you're still shepherding these young kids like you have all season. Like, just jump right back into it. Just ignore that whole month and a half or 2 months of speculation happened. Just step right in and be okay. And for the most part, they have, which speaks to Don Kelly. They've taken a pitching staff that was beaten up at the trade deadline. They sold off players from it. The bullpen was in disarray. David Bednar's gone, so there's no leader of the bullpen anymore. And it took about a week, and he somehow managed to put the wheels back on without stopping the vehicle. That's hard to do. That's hard to do in this league. It is so hard to reverse course once things start going that way. Players obviously get credit too. Let's not anytime you credit a coach with something, people want to give the players credit. Every time you want to bash a coach, nobody mentions the players as possibly being even slightly at fault. Everything's in symbiotic work right now. It's all working together. Don Kelly is the orchestra leader. I mean, you say what you want about this team, but they don't have the talent to be putting up the record they have under Don Kelly. I just don't believe that. I think they're missing some pieces. I think they're pulling a lot of the right strings. They're winning games they shouldn't be winning. I mean, this Dodgers series, they should have lost that first game. I mean, they just kept letting it slip away from them, and for once, the offense bailed them out. It's really kind of insane what's happened. I want to talk about Isaac Mattson just a little bit too, because I've mentioned him as the season's gone on, but he's a 30-year-old pitcher who came from independent league baseball. So it's really hard to get, 5-6 good performances out of a guy like that and then start running around crowing like you found something. But Isaac Mattson has had one of the better rookie campaigns of any reliever in baseball right now. He's got a 3-2 record, a 2.31 ERA, 42 strikeouts in 39 innings, a 1.03 whip, which is great no matter who you are. Averages like a 94 mile an hour fastball, really good extension, 29.8% chase rate from Isaac Mattson, a 202 expected batting average against. Among rookie relievers with 35 plus innings, Mattson ranks near the top in whip, strikeout rate, and expected ERA. His ability to miss bats and limit hard contact has made him a key piece of this Pirates bullpen. You don't go around getting excited about 30-year-old rookies. And unless they're a reliever. Sometimes, man, you get a guy that everything comes together when he's 30. Some guys have to go to Korea and come back. Think about a guy like Miles Michaelis. Okay, I know he's not very good right now, but he was a very good pitcher for a decent amount of time for St. Louis. And they got him a little bit later in life because he had already crapped out at the major league level and gone and played in Asia and gotten, some experience there and learned how to pitch. And then came over here and they didn't care how old he was because they still had the same amount of team control of any other rookie. It doesn't matter to them if he's 28 or 22. Well, I'm the same way with Isaac Mattson. Listen, if Isaac Mattson's gonna be a good reliever for the next 4 or 5 years, I'll take it. I don't care if he's 35 when he's done here. You don't have to extend him. This is a guy that you can just continue on rookie limits next year, regular, normal contract. All you got to do is say, yeah, sure, come on back, Isaac Mattson. What a wonderful find. There are people that would kill for a bullpen arm that performs like that. And the Pirates grabbed this guy off the independent league scrap heap. I am so proud of the Pitt alum. H2P, everybody. For real. Isaac Mattson has been a revelation this year. I'm kind of embarrassed this is the most time I've actually spent on him because he has been at times the glue that has held that bullpen together. He's been one of the only real consistent performers outside of Dennis Santana. And Dowry Moretta, I normally would throw in, but he's had a couple stinkers too. I also have grace for him because he's returning from injury, but Isaac Mattson's no joke. This isn't a parlor trick anymore. I think we should be pretty excited about what he's done. When we come back, I want to talk about a very special lineup, celebrating the historic nature of it. Need a boost to power through the day without reaching for another cup of coffee or an energy drink? That's where Zippix caffeine toothpicks come in. Instead of the crash you get from sugary drinks, Zippix gives you a clean, convenient burst of caffeine anytime, anywhere. And if you're looking for that nicotine satisfaction instead, they've got Zippix nicotine toothpicks as well. They're pocket sized and discreet, so you can take them anywhere. Great for the airplane. Great for the airplane. Ready to try them? Go to zippixtoothpicks.com and use promo code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. That's zippixtoothpicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Zippix Toothpicks, energy and focus anytime you need it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Make sure you hit me with a subscribe and a like. And for those of you that are much older than me, or even just a little bit older than me, I'm sure you have memories of what I'm about to talk to that are a lot more relevant than what I have. I was not alive for this. Everything I know about it is from the history books. On September 1st, 1971, the Pirates made history by fielding the first all-black and Latino lineup in Major League Baseball. That starting nine was, of course, for those of you, again, who are old enough to remember, I apologize for rehashing history. For those of you that are younger, I'm going to go over this for about 10 minutes here, but man, I really hope that you go and do some looking into it yourself. If you got an opportunity the other day to meet them at the ballpark, there's a couple surviving members of this lineup, and they're more than happy to talk about that moment and that team. And they talk the way you would hope we would in society about race relations. There was no color in that room. Nobody felt that. Steve Blass was kind of one of the architects of that. And Manny Sanguillen will tell you that just about every opportunity you get a second to talk to him. Rennie Stennett at second base. Gene Clines, center field. Roberto Clemente in right field. Willie Stargell in left field. Manny Sanguillen catching. Dave Cash at third base. Al Oliver at first. Scoop. Jackie Hernandez at shortstop. And Doc Ellis pitching. Pirates won that game 10-7 against the Phillies, and they went on to win the World Series that year. This past Tuesday, the team unveiled a permanent historical marker at the site of Three Rivers Stadium, which is now in Gold Lot 1A on the North Shore. The ceremony featured Roberto Clemente Jr., Dave Cash, Al Oliver, and Steve Blass, along with representatives from the Heinz History Center, state and local officials, and Pennsylvania Historic and Museum Commission. Only 3 players from that lineup, Sanguillen, Oliver, and Cash, are still alive, and all of them attended the ceremony. The plaque stands as a tribute to a moment that transcended baseball, symbolizing progress and representation in a sport that had only integrated 24 years earlier. That's incredible. You know, to think that in less than a quarter century, we went from not being allowed to have really any minority player in Major League Baseball to having a lineup completely constructed by it. And oh, by the way, they're so damn good, they're going to win the World Series that year. Man. And to have it be a city like Pittsburgh, you know, a city that I feel like struggles to embrace at least did in history, struggled to embrace certain players, like even Roberto Clemente. A lot of the things that's funny, a lot of the things that you hear about, like from modern players through the prism of history, my grandpa would tell me stories all the time about how Roberto was a hypochondriac. He would tell me he's always making up injuries and playing through them, and I don't think he's really hurt. My grandma would do the same thing. They all loved these players, though. In fact, the only qualifier you would never hear when they were talking about these players, and obviously, look at me. My grandparents are white. The only qualifier you would never hear was their color, their race. I would hear about Doc Ellis, stories about Doc Ellis. Sure, I heard the acid story, and I heard about the hair curlers, and I heard about him hitting guys in one game until he got thrown out of the game. I heard all those stories. You know what I never heard? Honestly, and I mean this, I didn't know until I was like 15 or 16 that Doc Ellis was black. I saw it on a baseball card. I didn't know from them because it never came up. And I think that's because that's the way the Pirates of that era treated it. This was truly a group of guys that loved each other, fought for each other. They just did not care about any of that. The character of these guys. If you've ever had an opportunity, I haven't had an opportunity to ever talk to Dave Cash, so I can't speak to that personally, but I have spoken to Al Oliver and Manny Sanguian, and I've talked to Manny hundreds of times. If you've gone to a lot of Pirates games, you probably have too. He will talk to anybody, and this is one of his favorite subjects. Mostly because he didn't do anything special to make it be. Nobody forced it into existence. They didn't do this because they wanted to make SportsCenter. SportsCenter wasn't here. They didn't do this because they wanted to make the national news or get noticed or anything. This was Danny Murtaugh putting out the best team he could. That's it. Guys that could hit. Guys that could pitch. The best chance he had to win. And it happened to be, that day, 9 minority players. I love it. There's a lot of things in Pittsburgh that when you're watching this team, it's really easy to wallow in what they've become. And the game's largely responsible for that. Bob Nutting's responsible for it. I could go back 2 or 3 owners into who's responsible for why this team is the way it is. But nobody can take our history away. Nobody can take the insane amounts of history this team has. The firsts. The things nobody else could do. The things nobody else did. I wish that there were more modern stories like this. Something like this will never be replicated again because we, as a society, are too jaded to accept it anymore. If something like this were to happen today, and I don't even know what the equivalent of that would be, I'm not sure what group is actually fighting for rights they don't have that were anywhere comparable to that are all playing baseball anyway. So I don't know if there's anything like this that would come up, but if it did, our social media brains, the first thing we would do is start questioning how contrived it was. Some people would embrace it fully and act like it was the greatest thing ever. Some people would hate it automatically, and we'd all argue about it. And it could have very simply just been this was the best team they thought they could put forward. But that's how jaded we've become. I'm so happy that we weren't back then. A lot's gotten better in this country since 1971 and with baseball. This in particular, to me, was a turning point. And it's a fixture that I like to look back on. To me, this is when integrating baseball became less of a thing that people were paying attention to on a onesie-twosie basis type thing. And now the ultimate proof that Your entire team can be that, and you can be a champion too. I love the Pittsburgh Pirates for a lot of reasons, but their history, even the history I didn't personally get to see, is what I love the most. Stop by Three Rivers Stadium lot and check out these plaques. If you ever get a chance, go over to the old Forbes Field wall, check that out. Make it over there whenever they're celebrating the Maz home run. Get your butt over there and be with everybody. They'll do the whole radio broadcast. Pirates alumni are there. It's a celebration. The crowd is half full of people that were there, half full of, and the other half is people that listen to it on the radio, and they're bringing future generations. Like I was brought there to listen to that broadcast so that I have some kind of a connection to the history and the gunner and those players' names. And I love the history of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let's dive into it more. And this offseason, I'm going to do a lot more of this historical stuff because first, I think it's really interesting. And it's sometimes the most positive thing you can talk about with this team. When we come back, let's dive into this Brewers series. We just took down the Dodgers. Now, any chance the Pirates got enough in the tank to take down the Milwaukee Brewers too? They haven't been as hot as the Pirates recently. Just saying. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of golf course favorites to non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Last week, it was so dry on the course, and I've been struggling so much with my 3-wood. I topped the ball, and it rolled for a good 200 yards. I mean, you got to love course conditions helping you almost as much as a 5-Hour Energy would. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of the clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up fun with even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up for that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. And this all ends October 31st, 2025. Hey, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Hey, the Pirates aren't going to catch the Brewers for first place in the division, okay? That's not going to happen. That's not the importance I'm putting on this series. But I do love being competitive against division foes, especially when they're teams you're going to have to beat, and they're not going to change much between this year and next year. The Brewers are going to return a whole lot of this team. Tonight's matchup features Quinn Priester, 11-2, with a 3.28 ERA for Milwaukee versus Johan Oviedo, who has a 3.60 ERA. He has just returning from injury. You expect another 4 or 5 innings start from him. Priester, of course, was traded last year for Nick York, who I'd imagine has a chance to be in this lineup, although I would think they'll go with Horwitz starting at first, but you might find a place for Nick York too. He's been hitting the ball, Hot bats to watch, Brian Reynolds. He's really been on a tear recently. Andrew McCutchen. And then from Milwaukee, Caleb Durbin has been hitting over 385 in his last 10 games. That's just a guy you don't think of much. But the Bucks have an advantage here. They get the Milwaukee Brewers at home instead of American Horror Field. Pirates are 42-30 at home. And when they score 5+ runs, they're 34-8. Milwaukee leads the season series 7-3. But the Pirates are surging, and the Brewers aren't. We could flip the script a little bit tonight. Really could. You're not going to run into Peralta in this series. I'm not saying that means that the Brewers should be considered beatable, but the Brewers should be considered beatable. Pittsburgh Pirates haven't always done well against the Brewers, but tonight, this is a different scenario. And while it may not matter to the season, I want this team to finish strong. Again, listen, regardless of the GM, a lot of this team's coming back next year. I don't see a whole lot of benefit in hoping that they fail so that the GM gets fired. I also don't think that this decision is going to come down to how they perform in this last month or have performed in this last month. Okay? So root for your team. Don't worry about Ben Cherington. That'll take care of itself. Look, honestly, he's either going to get another chance or he's not. And it isn't going to be because they finished with 76 wins again this year somehow. If anything, that would be the reason that they'd move on. Just let it play out. Milwaukee's a great team, and we saw why. The way that they approach their at-bats makes them extremely difficult to pitch to. There aren't a whole lot of supremely talented players on that team, but there are a lot of above average talented players on that team, and they can be pesky. And the Pirates don't do great against pesky pitchers. They get frustrated when they get into long at-bats, and then they end up leaving something in the middle because they're frustrated. Now, that's not every pitcher, but that's a lot of pitchers. And I think it's something that we have to keep our eye on, because Milwaukee is going to be a different battle than the Dodgers were. The Dodgers have a better offense. Let's just not lie about it. I'm not saying on paper they do. The stats would tell you that the Brewers are right up there and everything, but they haven't hit nearly as many home runs. They're not nearly as dangerous with one swing as the Dodgers are. There aren't as many guys in the lineup that you overtly don't want up there. There's just a lot of capable guys, and any of them could do damage to you. And that's a tough lineup to face too. It's a different kind of challenge, but it's a challenge. And I would argue that the Pirates struggle more with what the Brewers do than they do with what the Dodgers do. They have a much easier time keeping guys in the park and limiting damage against home run hitting teams than they do keeping guys from wrapping balls all over the ballpark, running around the diamond, forcing the issue, and racking up runs that way with a consistent approach like the Brewers operate with. And you see this with other teams that the Pirates face. They struggle with teams like that. Boston is a team that can kind of play both ways, and when the Pirates played them, they had a lot of their fence swingers in there. And what did the Pirates do? Shut them down. Except for the one day where they put in a lot of their guys that tend to battle more and get on base and be pesky. Almost as pesky as that pole out there. And they handled it. They're really on a tear right now. They are. The Pirates are one of the hottest teams in the National League. It isn't going to amount to anything this year. It's not going to put them in a good position or anything. It's not going to have them be a borderline playoff team. But again, if I'm returning 75% of this team next year, which they are, I want them to perform well. I don't want to limp into the off season and make it even worse. Important things to watch in this series, I think, are Johan Oviedo. What do they do with him on the innings side? I would like to see them let him be one of the very few pitchers that is expanding the amount of innings they'll let him go as the season rolls out. He got a late start because of the lat and recovering from Tommy John. I think now is when you'd want to unleash him a little bit. He just went through his ramp down two starts ago, so it should be time to let him go. Let's just focus on that and see if maybe there's a little bit of a different treatment with Johan Oviedo, if they let him go a little longer. The bullpen, because the Pirates have been winning so much, is taxed because all the regular bullpen guys have been going. Should get Dennis Santana back tonight. Should get Isaac Mattson back tonight. They weren't available last night. And we saw what happened in the ninth yesterday when they had to use Dowry Moretta and Colin Holderman. So you don't want that again, right? And they got lucky to get as much as they did out of Johan Ramirez because they got the Dr. Jekyll side of the Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll scenario that is Mr. Ramirez. All in all, a great series just happened. And we're going to, I think, see another one, a different challenge from a team that just got done punching the Pirates in the mouth a couple weeks ago. That's it for today's episode of Locked On Pirates. From Paul Skenes mowing down the Dodgers to Don Kelly guiding this team above 500 and Isaac Mattson emerging as a bullpen weapon, the future feels a little brighter in Pittsburgh. But today wasn't just about wins and stats. It was about remembering a lineup that made history and honoring the legacy of those who paved the way. Pirates are back in action tonight against the Brewers. And we'll be here to break it all down come Monday. Until then, keep your eye on the ball, your heart in the game. And as always, let's go Bucks.